All right, welcome back. So now we've created our first exploration project here with Next.js. Let's go over some of the file structure, do with it. We've cleared everything out because I wanted to start fresh so that we could sort of play around with some stuff here. The first thing I want to do is look at how we can implement CSS at a global level. So this is global CSS. So here, any CSS that I put in, as long as I uncomment this out, any CSS that I put in will affect my page. So for example, let's say body, then background color, and let's see if we can you can use the selector here to, this is kind of a nice thing that you can do in VS Code. Let's make it a little sky blue thing or something. Now when I save this, maybe, oh, I have to run my project. There we go. npm run dev. You get very used to running that command. Now I'll go back over here and refresh again. And there we go, sky blue. The other thing we need to do, of course, is get rid of this terrible font here. So let's go ahead and get rid of that terrible font. We can say font family. And I like the way this does this. So let's use Segway UI. I like that font. There we go. Nice. So we're able to do styling with global CSS. This styles our entire page. There are times when we want global styling, but there's also times we might want styling that's specific to a single page. So I have my exploration, and let's add something to this. Let's add a class name to it, but I want to do this in the module CSS way. So normally, well, first of all, normally if you're doing CSS class, you would just type class equals my header or something like that. We can't use class. And the reason we can't use class is that this is already a term in JavaScript. So there's some things like this where you have to change it slightly. So they changed it to class name. So now I have class name my header. However, since I'm using module CSS, we're going to do this in a different way. We're going to import styles from module CSS. Now, styles is just an alias that represents module CSS, and styles should only have classes. So what I can do is class name, and then we would do styles dot something. So let's say styles dot my header, like that. Now, the problem with this is there's a bunch of red, obviously, but anytime we want to use JavaScript inside of an HTML component, we have to wrap it with curly braces. So curly braces is a key of JSX here. So I have this styles my header. However, that doesn't exist in here yet. So let's create that. And we do this the same way we would normally do that. And let's say we want to add some padding to this, or actually margin. Let's say margin, let's try this trick. Margin left auto, margin right auto, and then width 100%, and display flex. Am I not changing anything? It is, I'm just not doing the styling correctly for centering. Yeah, I might not need to do that. Oh, you know what? That's not going to work exactly how I want, because I actually need like 50% here. There we go. Now that's supposed to put it towards the middle. This is not the best way to do that, though. I think it's text align center, maybe. But the parent div needs to be the width of the entire thing for that to work. Or this needs to be the, let's see, try this again. Nope, that doesn't work. Let's do my div width 100%. And we'll add another one to the parent here. Class name. Styles.myDiv. Still doesn't work. There we go. Okay. Yeah, sorry. It took a minute for me to remember how to do that. CSS is one of those annoying things to work with. Anyway, so I'm able to style this specifically for this page. If I had a different page, it wouldn't have access to this module thing. You want to put these two in the same directory as each other. So that, yeah, that allows me to style something that way. Another thing we can do, yeah, just like normal, we have the ability to use HTML code here. The one rule, the one big rule here, actually there's lots of rules, but the one big rule is that if I try to do this, it doesn't work. I mean, this is valid HTML, but it doesn't work. And the reason for that is the parent or the top level HTML, you can only have a single top level HTML. So I can put another div, but it has to go inside of this div. Another div. See, so I can put that inside of there. I can't put this outside. So I hope that makes sense. It's because we have the top level div, which is right here. It can only be a single div at the top level. Rule of React, actually. So sometimes you don't even want to use div. You can actually use a weird thing called an empty HTML element. You can wrap it in just nothing if you want to. That works. I don't like to use that very much. I like to use a div or something else. If we're using a component library, there's usually something we can use. So any HTML we want to use works here. I can make a list. Let's say, let's do this. Three, my favorite video games. And then we'll just list some of my favorite video games. So UL is unordered list. So this is bullet points. LI, Fantasy X. What are my other favorite video games? World of Warcraft. Elden Ring. A lot of games we could put there, but yeah. So you can use a list. You can also create. Now, I want to show you something here. Let's see if this does what we're expecting. If I take out that wrapper, still work there, huh? There's sometimes you get these things called hydration errors, and it means that there's a misalignment between here and the expected HTML. Let's make a table. I think we'll be able to see that in a table here. Let's say H3, my schedule. I'm not going to do this whole thing. Table. And then let's say we just start putting rows in here. Monday. And then work. I'm putting garbage stuff in here. It's not going to do anything. It has no meaning. TD Tuesday. Rest. Not a very good schedule. Okay, so here now we got a hydration error, or this will cause a hydration error. TR cannot be a child of table. So in normal HTML, it'll let you get away with that just fine. In this one, we have to include something like a table body. So we can put this stuff inside of a table body, these rows, and that's fine. Oops, what happened there? Okay, I just hit the wrong thing and closed. Oh, I hit Control B instead of Control V, that's why. Get it lined up well. There we go. So now we're fine. And we can have a table head as well with T head. And we can have a row for that. And we can even use TH cells instead, which are specifically meant for table head. Day, and then TH activity, just like that, day activity. And this is a table. It looks terrible, but it's a table. So we can have our, tables. We can have our lists. It's a little bit more picky about how everything is formed, but it's just pretty basic HTML here. So I think that's enough for this one. And the next one, we'll start getting into the JavaScript stuff.